Welcome back to the Terrible Movie Collab series, where every week, or at least I'm trying to do this once a week, I'm joined by a guest and we talk about a terrible movie. Today's guest is the awesome Jason the Old Millennial, as we discuss the 2003 hideous and very popular movie, and kind of a cult following, The Room. Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for taking your own time out to check out this review right here, where I'm joined by Jason from Jason the Old Millennial, which you can find a link to his channel down below in the description box. Go give him some love and let him know that I sent you. And he's kindly joined me for this terrible movie of The Room, which is directed and written by Tommy Wiseau. Also stars Tommy Wiseau as the main lead of Johnny, and we've also got Sestero, and we've got Juliette, Danielle in here. Also, Juliette plays Lisa, and Greg plays a character called Mark. Now, this movie is very infamous. Everyone knows about this movie, but I'd never seen it before, and neither had Jason, as far as I'm aware. So, of course, I asked him to join me on a collaboration for this movie. Jason, my friend, what's the plot of this all around?
We got Johnny, who has got a fiancée, Lisa, and Lisa is cheating on Johnny with his best friend Mark.
Going into this movie, I was expecting just a bad time, guys. Honestly, I've seen Disaster Artist of this movie, and I really enjoy that one, actually, to be honest. So going into The Room itself, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this scene, I remember this, and this is how this plays out. Oh, okay, cool. What I'm gonna say, guys, just off rip straight away, this is an utterly bad movie, but I had a lot of fun. That's all I will say straight away. I really actually found myself having a good time. I chuckled several times while watching this movie. I don't know if that was exactly intended. Maybe it is nowadays because of kind of the cult following that this movie has received, but definitely back then it wasn't taken like that. Tommy Wiseau wanted to really break into the industry, and I believe he actually submitted this for kind of distribution by Paramount. And normally they reply within 2 weeks. They have rejected it in 24 hours. So it goes to show that they were not interested in this whatsoever. And I really don't blame them. This would have been a massive flop for them if they took this one on the chin. Right, okay, where do we even start with this movie? I guess if I'm going to start anywhere, I'm going to start with the very little positives that I can actually throw in here. And the only little positive that I can actually give is we get some nice scenic shots of San Francisco. That's kind of about it. Yeah, I really like the scenic shots of San Francisco because I've actually visited there myself in 2019. The Palace of Fine Arts and Museum of Fine Arts. Yeah, I visited there. I was like, wow, yeah, I've been there. That's pretty cool to see. And then besides that, in terms of positives, is this movie is so bad, it's funny. It's laughable. So at least if you're going to watch this, and although you're going to cringe and you're going to think, oh man, this is terrible, I've wasted maybe an hour and 40 of my life, you're definitely going to have some good chuckles. I definitely find myself having some really good chuckles, but I've got a lot more to say on this one. But before I do, I'm going to hand it over to my guest Jason from Jason the Old Millennial, and let's see what he has to think of The Room.
You are tearing me apart, Michael. Oh, hi, Michael. This is Jason the Old Millennial here. I'm here to speak about the infamously bad movie, The Room. So thank you, Mike, for including me into this terrible movie review. And this is definitely one of the classics. So you definitely got me a really good one out of this group. As probably Michael maybe already talked about, the movie stars this guy named Tommy Wiseau, who made this movie. He financially, made the movie with $6 million. He wrote the script, directed, and produced and starred in it as Johnny. That was a very long hour and 40 minutes to watch this movie. I'd say after about the 30-minute mark, I was like, wow, this movie is going nowhere. The plot's not going anywhere. It was a struggle because there's so many problems with this movie, of course, and it's been done so many times, so I can't add anything new to it. Just to say, the big thing is, I think there's two big problems in here. One is the script. Obviously, some terrible dialogue, but also just it's very bad at each scene seems to just repeat itself. It repeats a lot of scenes in the movie that stretch out to the hour and 40 minutes. And I feel like Tommy must have watched like pornography maybe and some daytime soap operas. I feel like a mixture of those two things. Because in the first 5 minutes, we get a sex scene between Tommy and Johnny and his girlfriend, Lisa. And pretty quick, 5 minutes in, you're like, oh, okay, we're going to get this now. 5 minutes later, we get a sex scene between Lisa and Mark. And so you're like, holy cow, another sex scene. And then at about 25-minute mark, we get a third sex scene between Mark and Lisa, or not Mark, but Johnny and Lisa again. So 3 sex scenes within 25 minutes is very excessive. Like I said, it felt like he must have structured after watching a porno going, oh, this is how you structure a movie or write a movie. About every, 10 minutes you have a sex scene or something. We even get a fourth one about an hour into the movie with Mark again. So 4, maybe get away with 2 of those 4. You don't really need 2 with each guy. Like just 1 sex scene with each would establish what's going on, and that, she's cheating on her fiance and all that. That would make sense. 4, way too excessive, which is one of the many problems of this movie. Like I said, it felt very repetitive in a lot of ways. Like, it felt like every other scene was either scene that this movie should have been called The Roof. It should have been called The Room, because about every other scene they're on the roof and they're throwing a football around, or sometimes they're in the alley or in the yard. But they're constantly just throwing a football just for no reason. Just that's how they. And I'm thinking, I mean, I when I was really young, maybe I'd go around and throw a football with my friends. But now as a grown adult, I just don't stand around throwing football as fun, time with my friends. I don't know. It just seems like a boring thing to do. But yeah, that was just like, wow, it's like another scene with them throwing a football. The other one is Lisa's mother would come in. But every other scene, after her and Johnny would talk or whatever, her mother would show up. And then they'd have this conversation that would always go, I'm not really in love with Johnny anymore. Oh, but you should marry Johnny because he has money. That's about every scene they have together. And they do about 5 scenes of that. And after the second scene, I was like, oh my God, not the mother again. Like, also, it felt like characters would like walk in and you have no idea who they are. There was never established a character. And you're like way into the movie and all of a sudden a new character would walk in or show up and you'd be like, okay, who's this guy? What's the relationship between the others? That definitely was kind of jarring. Even the last 10 minutes, you introduce this whole new character who seems to be important and was a friend of theirs. And you're like, who's this guy? Like, that was me the whole movie. I was like, I don't know who this person is and what's their importance to the whole movie. Yeah, so definitely didn't do a good job writing the movie and really establishing characters and really introducing them very well. And getting you to like them before you start doing stuff with them, like having sex scenes, I think they could have done something like that would make the movie better. The other huge problem is it's got to be Tommy Wiseau's acting. This definitely goes down as one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a movie. The guy just doesn't know how to act. And he obviously let's say he doesn't have the leading man good looks. No offense to the guy to really lead a movie. And he has kind of this might sound mean, but he has kind of a weird accent. I don't know where he's from. And not to make fun of people with accents, but something about his accent just seemed really off when he was delivering his lines. And it was weird because his lips never synced up with the dialogue. They must have went back in and overdubbed about every single line he did. He must have went to some kind of studio, I guess, and I don't know how he did it, and overdubbed his lines because it just felt very off. Every time he talked, it was like, okay, that didn't seem like that's coming at the same time as his mouth. It was very weird every time. Definitely took you out of the movie. Also, he just has this weird way of when he ends a sentence, like as an English speaker, the way you end a sentence is you end on a down note, kind of like in one scene he says, I'm tired of this world. You would usually say like, I'm tired of this world. He would say, I'm tired of this world. And I was like, and that's about every sentence he had ended up on this up instead of down. I don't know. It was very off-putting every time he did it because you're just like, okay, that was a weird line reading. I'll do anything for my girl. That's how he ends the sentence. And it should be, I'll do anything for my girl. He definitely doesn't deserve to be a leading role in an English-speaking movie if he can't figure that part out of how you normally speak sentences. Anyway, so it was like that. And And the way he said the sentences, he just said it very fast and no emotion. And he had some weird moments, like one moment Mark would talk about, oh, I heard a story about a girl who cheated on her boyfriend and then she got beat up. And the immediate response from Johnny was, ha ha ha, that's a funny story, Mark. And you're like, okay, that's not a funny story at all. And nobody would react by laughing at a girl being beat up. And there's many moments like that where he would, and his response to anything was, ha 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 ha, yeah, Mark, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, that was a really weird response to it. The last scene was horrible. It's a very horrible ending to this movie. Very depressing and not worth even $6 million to make it. Yeah, I thanks a lot, Mike, for getting me out to see this classic, really bad film. And it was definitely a bad one. And I appreciate you, though, thinking about me, Mike. And I hope you have a good day.
Jason, my man, thank you so much for joining me on this collaboration and loved hearing your thoughts on The Room. I know Jason, he certainly has some hot takes when it comes to movies, which I certainly enjoy, and I certainly am intrigued as to his thoughts on movies. And I knew with this one being purposely a bad movie, how would he react to this? And to be honest, I think we have pretty much the same feel in this. We both acknowledge this is a utterly gonzo beans of a movie, but it's also a fun one at the same time. The acting here, guys, is utterly atrocious. And as Jason said rightly, this movie's problem, the main one it does, is it repeats the same scenes over and over again. And it's the case where Lisa doesn't want to be with Johnny anymore, although they're engaged and scheduled to get married in the next week or so. But she's cheating on him with his best friend Mark. Then at the same time, the mom of Lisa is like, well, look, we'll get rid of him if you don't like him. Yeah, he's financially stable and he's a great guy and he's there to support you. But if you don't love him, you've got to tell him, And she's like, nah, I don't think I will. And so therefore, obviously, she's having this affair with Mark. And, oh man, this makes for some of the most awkward sex scenes I've ever seen in a movie ever. The funniest thing is about these sex scenes is it's not slowly focused on, and usually sex scenes, it starts with the undressing and it starts with the actions and the movements, whatever shenanigans. I don't need to describe that to you guys, but it usually starts with that. However, this sex scene starts with a pillow fight. I don't know who starts a sex scene with a pillow fight. And then once we get that kind of pillow fight, they slowly start to undress. Okay, right, fair enough. And then he's messing on with a rose petal in terms of not making it very sensual sort of gear. Just be like, sniff this rose petal, will you? And I'm like, what? I'm like, how much sense does this make? It really doesn't make any sense. And I was like, what? Whose directions are this? Tommy Wiseau, man, the guy doesn't have a damn clue. I'm just going to put it out there. And then the worst thing of it is the music that goes along with each individual scene. And there's not just one of these guys. These sex scenes, as Jason said, happens 4 times at least throughout the movie. Juliette, Danielle, just has a top off pretty much every 10 minutes or so. And then Tommy Wiseau's just ripping off his 6-pack or whatever he's got in this movie. And then just getting it on. And I'm just like, we get the point. You guys are lovers and you guys are, making out, so to say. And her and Mark are as well. But it's just a duplicated scene, so it goes in terms of a sex scene. Okay, then there's a talk about, yeah, she doesn't like Johnny anymore, she doesn't love him. But then she goes and makes out with him again. And then, again, there's another kind of talk with her and her mum. Then there's another sex scene with her and Mark. And then it's her kind of talking about, oh yeah, now she's cheating with Mark. Then there's another sex scene, and it's just that rinse and repeat for 1 hour and 40 minutes. The only slight differences that we get in this movie, as Jason mentioned, is when we get a rooftop scene or a scene in an alleyway. This movie, the writing is absolutely atrocious. The dialogue by Tommy Wiseau and his performance itself it's just very robotic. It's like, yes, I love you, Lisa. And I'm not making this up, guys. I really wish I was, but I'm really not. The acting, awful. Absolutely wooden from every single person, but especially Tommy Wiseau and casting himself as the lead. What an ego that guy had at the time, at least. He's got to have. And then the dialogue, terrible. Just isn't natural dialogue whatsoever. And as Jason said, the audio issues here, there's a lot of them. When he's talking, it's I love you, Lisa. But like nothing comes out of his mouth, and then like a second later, I love you, Lisa. Like playing like a catch up to what he's trying to say. Like the audio sync is all over the place. The set locations and the green screen use of San Francisco, terrible. Absolutely horrendous. Then we also have the music here, which laughable. Who's going to listen to that at any single time? I'm certainly not. It's certainly not good music to use for a bedroom scene. Let's just say that. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. It's that bad. Yeah, I've got actually like no redeeming qualities basically for this movie, except for maybe stock archival footage of San Francisco, and even that isn't great. It's only because I've been there. I have a bit of a memory of it. So yeah, The Room, guys, absolutely tragic, an absolute mess of a movie that I really don't know how it got made. And what makes this worse is this was $6 million budget. And I mean, I've seen better movies produced on less than $1 million that are going to stand the whip hurled and kind of test of time. $6 million, and this pile of garbage gets made and it has a cult following of how bad it is. It's beyond words. It really, really is. But I just want to thank Jason for joining me on this terrible movie review of The Room. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. As for my score, I'm going to give it a half a star out of 5. So if you haven't already subscribed to Jason, the link is down below in the description box. Go give him some love, let him know that I sent you, go support him. Such a great guy and such a great friend as well. Really thankful to have met Jason through YouTube, and he just really is such a cool guy. Has a lot of awesome content over his channel, whether it's rankings with music, rankings with movies, doing deep dives in certain discussions or live streams. He has a lot of variety, so go check him out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you have, give it a big thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel down below so I can see you again on a future video. As I've also launched merch, so you can actually get a hold of some Did You See That official merch by clicking the link down below in the description box. But over on my Patreon, memberships start from £2 per month. You can also request for me to watch movies and review them here onto the channel. Plus, it includes so many more perks. So definitely click that link down below, guys, in the description box to join Patreon today. And I also want to give a big thank you to all my awesome supporters over on Patreon who help really support my channel. And they also have YouTube channels as well. So their names will be down below in the description box. Please go subscribe to them and go show them some love. And if you missed out on a playlist of any and all Terrible Movie Collab episodes, click the link down below in the description box for a full playlist. But until the next time that I see you guys, I'll be seeing you later.